A day some of you have waited for has finally arrived. Roll for Zine is back. My name is Dana. I'm a zinester, which means I'm someone who likes making DIY publications. They're typically collaged, then photocopied and assembled by hand, and they're like little DIY magazines that feature literally any sort of content you can think of. Some zines are full of facts and instructions, some zines are full of fiction and poetry, some are full of art, comics. The sky's the limit. And on Roll for Zine, inspired by Roll for Sandwich, by Adventures in Ardia, and Inspired Polymer's Mystery Octopus jar, I roll some dice, and I use the dice rolls to prompt me to make a zine. If you saw season 1, which if you haven't, go check out the playlist down in the description box. But if you are a fan of season 1, you know that usually I start them by rolling a dice to see if we are reading a zine or making a zine. But for season 2, we're only making zines. I'm making this change for a couple reasons. One, it was really hard to plan how to film these. If I got read a zine, I could film an episode in an hour or less. If I got make a zine, it could take me the entire afternoon. So we're just sticking with make a zine because then I can really schedule out when I'm able to film these in a way that's sustainable. Also, I just really like the idea of using this as a way to like spark my own creativity. So yeah, that's like the biggest change. There are also some surprises, such as the jar of ideas. We'll talk more about that when we get to it. But for now, like, I've been rambling enough. Let's get to rolling and let's make a zine. So first up, roll 1, we need a D6. This will tell us if the meat of our zine, if it's going to be mostly written or illustrated. All right, this is a 6. Yes, it is. All right, D6, let's go. All right, it's a 6. So that means I can incorporate writing, collage, and illustration in my zine. That's wonderful. That's like essentially letting myself do whatever I want. Well, I say do whatever I want, but roll 2 is going to let us see if it's going to be handmade or digital or both. So I could get one of these 3 options that might limit what I can do. Let's find out which it is. That's not it. Is there a D3? I feel like I'm just recognizing that there's no such thing as a D3. Yeah, so there's actually like no such thing as a D3. I don't play Dungeons and Dragons or any other really roleplay games. So yeah, I'm learning. What I'm gonna do is if I get a 4, I'm just going to roll again. So here we go. And I got a 2. A 2 means that it has to be a digital zine. Yeah, so that's gonna make collaging and illustrating our zine a lot different. The writing is easy, but the other 2, that'll be different. Now for roll number 3, what color paper are we using? Oh, okay, so I'm gonna take this out because I do not think I can print on black paper. Like, that doesn't work. And there's no other black dots in here, so I think this might have just been an accident. All right. There we go. Let me get these glued down. The handy glue stick. All right. We got lots of green, which I love because that's my favorite color. There's some other good choices. I mean, even the white is not a bad choice. Then you get that kind of like our game sheet here. You get that really nice contrasty black and white. So kind of, it was disappointing at first, but I can roll with it. So here's number wise, we're gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And now we need our D8, which is right here. Nope, yeah, that's our D8. Oh no, wait, that's a 10. Y'all, I'm out of practice. Here we go. That's definitely a D8. All right, and it is a 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes. This is my favorite color paper that I have in stock, so I'm okay with that. All right, we're gonna roll another D8 to determine what zine genre we need to create a zine about. The genres I have here are perzine, how-to zine, playlist, fanzine, a poem, an info zine, a topic from our idea jar, or Zinester's choice, and I get to choose. So let's see what we'll be writing today. We need that D8 again. All right, let me give it a roll. Y'all, it's a 7, so we're starting off with the idea jar. The idea jar is, as the name suggests, a jar that I have filled with little pieces of paper full of mini zine ideas. I have been compiling ideas I have for mini zines for months now, jotting them down on pieces of paper. So we're gonna draw one, and whatever prompt it says is the zine we'll be making today. I know some of them in here are simpler and probably won't lend themselves to being written, collaged, and illustrated. Yeah, we'll see what we get. Okay, we are doing a Mothman zine. I am so excited. I mean, you're on the Cat Moth Pro channel. I love moths, and that extends to loving the cryptozoological phenomenon that is Mothman. Awesome. Okay, but wait, that's not all. We still need to have some wild magic where things can go off the rails. For wild magic, we're gonna roll a d20, and then any of these could become part of our zine making process. I will go through them all now since this is episode 1, but we could have a shaped zine. We'll have to roll 2 and then have double the wild magic. A zine with a pocket, a zine that is a map, a flip book zine. We have to supersize it and make it quarter size, half size, out of 11 by 17 paper. We have to incorporate stamps somehow, or we have to incorporate stickers. We have to make it teeny tiny. We have to include a pop-up. We have to burn it somehow and include fire. A viewer's challenge, which if we roll this one a day, we will have to do a reroll because the viewer's challenge is on you guys. If you have an idea for a Roll for Zine challenge, drop it down in the comments, and in future episodes, if I roll viewers challenge, I will go to those comments. I'll just go in the order that they come in. So if you're the first comment and I roll viewers challenge, I am doing the challenge you suggest. So get your ideas in now. Yeah. Repurpose. If I hit repurpose, I have to use a zine I've already created somehow in the creation of the zine. Monotone. If I get that, we will be printing in color, and we will be printing, in this case is this green paper with green ink. If I got purple, we do printing in purple ink, blue with blue ink, etc. Accordion zine, cut up or black out. If I get this, I have to essentially do like blackout poetry or a blackout illustration where I take an existing illustration or poem and I black out parts of it to make a new image or a poem. Stapled, a stapled mini zine instead of our typical folded one. Typewriter, and then no scissors or no glue. If we get no glue and it's digital, it's kind of a freebie. Like, I don't need glue if I'm making it digitally. If we get no glue, we'll probably re-roll, because it's no fun not having some wild magic. All right, we need the big guns. We need a D20. They are iconic. All right, let's give them a spin. Oh. All right, we got number. It'll focus. 18. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. We are using my typewriter. All right. So, because it's typewriter, but also digital, I'm gonna do some typing and then scan it in, and we're gonna manipulate it digitally. I feel really good about this. So yeah, we are going to use writing and collage and illustration. We're going to do a digital zine on green paper with our idea of making a Mothman zine, and we're using the typewriter. Heck yeah. We're gonna actually start with the typewriter. So hold on, we need to really quick switch everything over. Yeah, so here's my typewriter. I think that I am going to essentially make like a Who is Mothman introductory mini zine. So what I'll be doing is I'm going to type out a little bit about who Mothman is, a little bit of the Mothman lore, then we'll scan this into the computer and create a incredible collage of, I'm thinking like a collage of moth wings that can be the background. I'll put the text over on top of it, and then I will break out my iPad and we'll draw a Mothman for the front cover. That's my plan of attack. Yeah, let's get going. Let's see what we make. Okay, I've got the Mothman Wikipedia pulled up so I can reference dates and key facts, and I'm gonna get to typing. Okay. Oops. All right, so we've got our text, and now we need to go digital. So hold on one more second. Okay, so I'm gonna be working in Photoshop. I'm just opening up a letter-sized document, and I am going to put some guidelines so I know where the middle of my page is, and then some lines to show where my 8 different mini zine pages are going to be. I'm just gonna drop those in. And then, as I mentioned, I'm thinking I'm going to like make the background out of moth wings. So to source those, I am gonna go to the Graphics Fairy, which is a website that collects like vintage and antique clip art that is free to use. All right, so I'm just picking a couple of different moths, opening them in a different tab, and then I'm gonna drop them in. And then I think what I want to do is I'm going to make these images black and white using the threshold tool so they get that kind of really grainy, contrasty look. And then for the background, I actually inverted this image so that way the moths almost have like an X-ray look to them. It's kind of spooky. And then I'm going to use these larger moth illustrations in the foreground. All right, so I'm just going to keep on collaging and zhuzhing this image until I get it to a place where I really like how it looks. And then I'm going to hop over to my scanner and scan in the typewritten text so we can start adding it to the zine. Okay, now that we have our text scanned in and our background finished, I'm just going to select segments of the text and then drag them over from the scanned typewritten document to the zine. That way it gives us like sort of a cut and paste look, as though this was paper that we were cutting out with scissors. I really like that aesthetic. It's like a classic zine aesthetic, and it's really simple to achieve. Or you just use the marching ants tool, which does anyone else, like, that might be like a millennial kid thing. If you played Kid Pix growing up, do you also call the select tool the marching ants tool? It might have also just been like a growing up in the 90s computer lab sort of thing. But I'm pretty sure it was from Kid Pix. If you know, then you know, and let me know in the comments. But anyways, yeah, I'm just using the marching ants tool to select a group of text and dragging it over to create that copy and paste aesthetic. Yeah, and so that's kind of the process I took with laying out the text on the zine. And then that brings us to the last step. Don't think I forgot about drawing the Mothman for the cover. So let's hop over to the iPad and doodle a cute little creature and then drop them into the zine as well. All right, and here they are, our completed Mothman mini zine. So as you can see, I did end up trimming the edges so it would be full bleed. And I also used a red Posca pen, a red paint pen, to color in the eyes. And I love how that looks. It really kind of just adds that finishing touch to the Mothman on the cover. Mothman is a paranormal creature first spotted in Point Pleasant, West Virginia in 1966. On a dark and stormy night, witnesses described seeing a monstrous black winged creature with glowing red eyes. 1 month later, a bridge collapsed near where the Mothman was spotted, killing 46 people. Was the strange moth-like monster trying to warn residents? Or was it a harbinger of doom? Since 2002, people have flocked to Point Pleasant for a Mothman festival and have pondered this cryptozoological phenomenon. Do you believe in the Mothman? Well, do you? Let me know in the comments all your feelings about Mothman. And as I mentioned earlier, I need some ideas for the Wild Magic Viewer's Choice challenge. So if you have ideas that would make for a great wild magic, that little bit of spice that kind of makes the zine extra special, drop those ideas down in the comments. And if I roll that wild magic prompt, the viewer's challenge prompt, I might use your idea and make a zine that abides by the rules you assign me in that challenge. I'm not gonna lie, this might be like top 3 one of my favorite mini zines I have ever created. And it's all because of this silly internet game show and this online zine community. So thank you for being here, for tuning in. If you want to make your own Roll for Zine zine, I have dropped a link in the description box to a downloadable PDF of the game sheet so you can play along at home and make your own randomly generated mini zine. And yeah, I am rambling a lot. Like I said, I feel like I'm a little bit rusty, but I will hopefully get smoother at recording these again in the future. But for now it's okay because I ended up with a really freaking cool zine to show for it. So take care, Zinesters. I'll see you around. Bye!